is the motive behind learning Gita? All these things, we will try to go through that. So with this view, we started about 10 or 15 days back. And then today, till yesterday, we completed about 12 chapters. For the sake of those who are attending for the first time, we thought it would be better if you go through the introductory part, some points. Beloved Papa beautifully describes the Bhagavad Gita as a veritable mosaic of eternal wisdom. This sacred scripture provides insights into every aspect of human life, addressing both spiritual and physical dimensions with profound clarity. Its timeless relevance lies in the fact that it leaves no question unanswered about how to navigate life's challenges and opportunities. For those seeking the ultimate truth of philosophy and practical light for everyday living, Gita is an unparalleled guide. The core message of this remarkable work is to cultivate self-awareness, establish a meaningful connection with the indwelling divine power, and align harmoniously with our role in co-creation. This is our idea. The core message of this remarkable work is to cultivate self-awareness of who really I am, establish a meaningful connection with the indwelling divine power. Even these words are coming because of His presence within. Even the hand is moving because of His presence within. So a meaningful connection and align harmoniously with our role in co-creation. Ekanath Ishwaran, a renowned spiritual teacher, share. Wait. Here. Ekanath Ishwaran, a renowned spiritual. When you handle, no, it goes. Ekanath Ishwaran, a renowned spiritual teacher, likens the Gita to a map and a guidebook, explaining that it offers a systematic overview of life's journey. Like a seasoned guide, it lays out the terrain, highlights various paths to the summit, warns of potential pitfalls, provides practical advice. Ishwaran emphasizes that the Gita speaks not only to scholars of philosophy, but to anyone navigating the complexities of life. For instance, consider a situation where someone is torn between professional ambition and family responsibilities. Gita offers tools for finding balance through principles such as detachment, selfless action, and a focus on one's duty, swadharma. Beloved Papa captures the essence of the Gita as what do, after reading, after trying to translate this in our daily life, what will be the outcome? This is the question we are asking. The outcome is spontaneity of life, born of egoless purity and innocence. When we react to events and individuals, what now happens is we are guided by our own preconceived notions, judgments, likes and dislikes, rights and wrongs, this and that. But here, no, spontaneity, because everything is done by him. We don't have to apply our mind. The mind becomes pure so that whatever he feels like expressing it, he does it. Spontaneity of life, born of egoless purity and ignorance. He points out to the state of perfect freedom and divine ecstasy that emerges when one surrenders the ego and aligns with the universal truth. The Gita does not ask us to abandon the world or responsibility. Instead, it encourages us to divinize our actions by performing them selflessly and in harmony with the divine will. For example, a doctor treating patients without attachment to recognition or reward exemplifies the Gita's teaching of selfless action. The Gita's message is not confined to one era or culture. We have been told this was given out 6,000 years ago. Its wisdom speaks to every being in every age. This sacred text stands apart in scope and depth. It provides not only lofty philosophical insights, but also practical guidance on how to live a life of meaning and fulfillment amidst challenges. Whether one is a student, a professional, a parent, or a seeker of truth, Bhagavad Gita remains a timeless source of inspiration and a path to self-realization. Approach to Bhagavad Gita from the day-to-day life. The allegory of the Kurukshetra battlefield brings the Gita's teachings to life. This battlefield is not a historical or mythical setting. It represents the inner struggles we face every day. Lord Krishna, the charioteer and guide, symbolizes the indwelling reality, the one who is now making us to talk. He is Lord Krishna. The divine wisdom within us. Arjuna, the warrior, filled with doubt and confusion, represents our sense of individuality, often torn between conflicting emotions and responsibilities. Kauravas are the negative forces within us, greed, anger, pride that pull us down. In contrast, the Pandavas symbolize positive virtues such as truth, courage, and compassion. Kurukshetra is the world within and without, a stage where these forces clash. So this is how we approach Bhagavad Gita. Not what had happened 6,000 years ago in Kurukshetra near Haryana. No. Every day it is going on. Origin of the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Where from it has come. The ancient rishis, often regarded as spiritual scientists, delved deeply into the eternal wisdom and uncovered profound truths which they compiled into the extensive teachings of the Upanishads. To make these teachings more accessible to the masses, their essence was distilled, presented in the form of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is evident from the following Dhyana Shloka. Sarvopanishado gavo dokta gopala nandanaha partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdam gita murtam mahat. All the Upanishads are the cows. Milkman is Lord Krishna. Arjuna is the calf. Men and women of purified wisdom are the drinkers. And the supreme nectar Gita is the milk. This is how we are approaching the Bhagavad Gita. Clarion call of Bhagavad Gita. Just like, when we start we will have some idea about the destination we have to reach. It has not been real, but we should have some idea about the destination we reach. So here also, after this study, after trying to make it a reality in my life, what is it that I am going to gain? That is the class. Through the first stanza, the Bhagavad Gita drives us to discover that every problem faced by us stems from not rising from me and mine. And the last stanza assures us that when we experience that He is the indwelling reality, who is behind all our thoughts, words and deeds, we will enjoy happiness, peace, prosperity, born out of the guidance from Him. Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, he starts, Dhritarashtra says, what are my children and Pandu's children? My children, That is the first stanza. And Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Tatra Partho Dhanurdhara. That is the last one. The two meaning when we put the me and mine is the stem, and I get an answer only when I dedicate myself to entirely into the power behind this. In other words, Bhagavad Gita is directing us to move from me and mine to me to we, and then me to Him. From self-assertion born out of the sense of individuality to surrender to the power activating the sense of individuality. This is the claim. Everyone can bring out their own. This is how Papa is prompting us now. Self-assertion, what do I aim at by this research? From self-assertion born out of the sense of individuality. I am right, you are wrong. My likes, my dislikes, my rights, my wrongs, my cravings, my infatuation, my ambition, my belongings, me and mine, everything is mine. From there, when I surrender everything to Him, surrender to the power activating the sense of individuality. That means we should know that we are only playing the part allotted to us by Him in this world Leela, and nothing is really initiated by us. However, the sense of individuality often blinds us to the truth. Beloved Papa provides a profound key to unlock the treasures of the Gita. Behold divinity in every aspect of this world Leela. Verily, it is He at play in all beings and creatures. Now starts the journey. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is an 18-roomed mansion, 18 chapters. Each room having unique dimension, containing different number of slokas on varied topics, all pointing out the central theme of developing harmony at home, harmony at workplace, harmony with friends, for which the only way is to see His role in anything and everything. It may be very difficult to go through all rooms and register the contents in one attempt or even in a few attempts. The chart gives an overview of its voluminous factor. This is a chart. There are about 18 chapters. How many slokas? What is the name of the chapter? What are the key points? We have some idea, no? Paucity of time, we are not going through that. As beginners, we make initial visits to all the rooms, observe what stands out to us, and attempt to connect each observation with the overreaching theme. So that means we are not trying to learn it by heart. The moment we go, we try to find which chapter, which sloka gets aligned with my thinking. Then I try to do that. Because God is giving us different types of taste, temperament, aptitude, inclination, preferences, priorities. We don't know that. But the moment we enter into a chapter, as we go through the shlokas, there may be something to which there is an inner alignment. When we try to go deep into it, that will give us a thrill, and that will help us to move forward. Regular visits to each room will gradually provide greater clarity on the thread that runs through them all. At the same time, we must endeavor to interpret the theme in our own way. For only then will it truly become our own, rather than a mere copy paste exercise as it often is now. Normally we read, it is somebody's. Initially, to move toward that, we need. But Papa has been emphasizing that everything should come from one's own within. Then only it becomes mine. That means all of us are unique. We cannot do the copy paste exercise. It will not become mine. So each one has to tread the path in his own way or her own way. Initially, we need a guide, but later on, we try to tap out what is inside us. Now, from here, we move to the chapter by chapter. Now, we will do one thing. We will go to the essence summary, chapter 1. As we delve deeper into chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, we come across the setting of Kurukshetra, where Arjuna stands in the middle of the battlefield, utterly confused and dispirited. The questions that well up in his mind are still relevant to each one of us as we navigate through our own battlefield of life. Conflicts, everything comes. So we have to look back our own life lived so far. We try to go through the theme, then we try to stitch it along with our own experience. Then only it becomes ours. God has given to all of us varied experiences. Many we branded it as good or bad, favorable, unfavorable, comfortable, not comfortable, positive, negative, constructive, destructive. Like that we have put label. But now we know God has made us to go through all those things for the purpose of refining us, for helping us to mature. At that time we did not know that. We put this tag. But now we try to see, oh, that is why he did like that. That is why he made me to pass through that pressing. So at some point in life, we often find ourselves attached to objects, people, or situations. While these attachments are natural, they can sometimes lead to feelings of dejection, disappointment, disillusionment. In such moments, we may adopt an escapist attitude, seeking to shield ourselves from emotional strain. All these things we have all employed. We want to run away from the field. We don't want to face them. All those things. To justify our action, we might resort to lofty words or rationalizations. Yet, amidst these struggles, there remains a quiet awareness within, a sense that behind our individuality lies the presence of God, the originator and protector. It is in these fleeting yet profound moments of recognition that we instinctively turn to Him, seeking guidance and solace. Right from our childhood, all of us must have. We might be having a puja room. Parents will ask us, before you go to school, you go there, prostrate, apply something, pray. Slowly, a higher power than us, we try to recognize there is a higher power than us. We may not know philosophy, but the faith is slowly developed. We go to an ashram, we see a Mahatma, parents will ask us to do pranams. Then we know there is a person who is on a higher realm. Like that, we slowly develop. So whenever we are in stressful period, we pray, we go to these masters. This is there. This is the greatest blessing we all have. That is what he said. Amidst these struggles, there remains a quiet awareness within, a sense that behind our individuality lies the presence of God, the originator and protector. It is in these fleeting yet profound moments of recognition that we instinctively turn to Him, seeking guidance and solace. In Krishna's case, he did not run away. He sat on the chariot. I will not fight. But he did not run away, because Lord Krishna is there. This is how we try to understand Gita in our own life. This reflection brings to the mind the words of Vinobaji. It's a beautiful wordings of Vinobaji. Arjuna's condition helps us greatly in understanding the rest of the Gita. It reveals Arjuna's straightforwardness and honesty. The word Arjuna in fact means one who is honest, straightforward in nature. He candidly told Krishna all that he felt and thought, hid nothing from him, and ultimately surrendered to him totally. In fact, he was already his devotee. When he made Krishna his charioteer and entrusted to him the reins of his horses, he has already got in himself in his hand the reins of his mind also. Let us do likewise. Let us not think that unlike Arjuna, we do not have Krishna to guide us. Let us not get caught in the fallacy that Krishna was a historical person. Everybody has Krishna residing in his heart as the indwelling self. He is nearer to us than the nearest. Let us bare our heart with all its impurities and weakness before him and say, O Lord, I take refuge in you. You are my sole guide and master. Show me the right path. I shall follow it. If we do so, Arjuna's charioteer will be our charioteer too. We shall hear the Gita from his own lips. He will lead us to victory. These words remind us that Krishna is not confined to history but lives within each one of us, ready to guide when we open our hearts to him. Arjuna's transformation in chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita is an insightful reflection of how one can learn and grow through challenging experiences with the proper guidance and support. The Lord is our sole guide and guardian, and resolving our conflicts and managing our challenges require a deep, constant dialogue with him. This is purely a long dialogue. This is how the first chapter we get the learnings. We move from there to the second chapter. In this chapter, Lord reveals that the secret to performing an action without getting entangled in its reaction is to renounce the idea of doership. Our sense of individuality is the root cause of the deep-seated idea of doership. When we go to our source, we know, we may say we have come from our parents, but we know that they have come from their parents. So God is the source, Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam. We will come to that particular sloga in this. So He is our origin. He has been providing everything through Mother Nature and society. Then how can I arrogate and say I am doing? This is what is meant, doership. Every problem arises from the sense of individuality which is rooted in the body, mind, intellect. We tend to respond to events and people from this limited perspective, the me and mine perspective. To free ourselves from the perceived problems and obstacles that stem from this mindset, we must first recognize the ephemeral nature of the body and the fluctuating tendencies of the mind. We all know that we are born, birth, growth, development, decay, death. We have been watching. The body keeps on changing. When there is a date of birth, there is a date of death. And the mind also, we know when we go back. What were our priorities when we were students, when we were adolescents, when we were youth, when we were middle-aged, when we are now in the senior citizenship. How it has been changing, shifting its priorities. So this is what is meant. To free ourselves from the perceived problems and obstacles that stem from we must first recognize the ephemeral nature, the changing nature of the body and the fluctuating tendencies of the mind. This understanding can be cultivated by reflecting on our life experience, how our preferences, priorities, and even the stages of our physical body have continuously evolved. Through this introspection, we come to realize that every action undertaken by a human being is driven by the mind. When the mind is restless, distorted, or directionless, it can lead to chaos and missteps. The key, therefore, lies in calming the mind and adopting a broader perspective, viewing life from a higher, more enlightened vantage point. Achieving this requires cultivating the qualities of a person of steady wisdom, one who remains composed, balanced amidst life's ups and downs. Sthita Prajna. Nobody can arrogate himself to be a self-made man because everybody is self-made. The difference in English, we have an advantage. The small S stands for the me and mine. The big S stands for the Atman. So nobody can arrogate himself to be a self-made man, this finite self, because everybody is self-made. In other words, we are all part of the whole. Thus, each and every action that we undertake has to be according to his wish and will. From there, we move to the third chapter, Karma Yoga. Action is fundamental to life. The quality of action is determined by the attitude behind it, the motivation backing it, and not by the action per se. Everyone is continuously engaged in action, whether at home, in the workplace, or with friends. And these actions bring us a variety of experiences. While some may provide fleeting moments of joy, they often fade, leaving behind feelings of sorrow or dissatisfaction. Yet, action is an inevitable part of life. It is essential to recognize that we have the power to transform our actions into something purposeful and uplifting. By aligning our daily activities with noble and higher ideals, we can embark on the path of self-improvement and inner evolution. Any practice that channels the lower aspects of our nature towards a higher way of life, fostering harmony and mastery over both our inner and outer life, is known as yoga. Desire is our greatest obstacle. It is a voracious devourer, causes a great deal of mental agitation and stress. It is unquenchable like fire. Trying to satisfy desire by fulfilling it is like trying to extinguish fire by adding fuel to it. Moreover, it mutates into other far more destructive forms like anger, greed, delusion, envy, arrogance. The solution is to rise to a higher desire. The lower desire will invariably lose its hold over us. The ultimate solution and resolution is the desire for liberation that removes all desires. That is the desire. Identifying one's own Swadharma, inner calling, core interest. It is difficult to excel if we invest our energies in a field aligned to our nature. In the area of our Swadharma, fix a goal, an ideal that is beyond our selfish interests. One can create the energy and enthusiasm within by focusing all thoughts on the ideal, surrendering to the ideal, and acting vigorously towards achieving the goal. From there we move to chapter number 4, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Through an earlier training in Karma Yoga, when an individual has integrated his mind and intellect, he becomes fit for the absorption and assimilation of the great truth through the process of contemplation and meditation. Therefore, there is a strong recommendation of the path of knowledge here in this chapter. Path of knowledge integrated with action. Purification through spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge is the ultimate purifier. It is attained through nivritti, mind turning inward, unlike pravritti, mind turning outward. Through nivritti, actions are transformed from a material to a spiritual nature, leading to spiritualized actions. Anything that I do. In other words, we know it is His. So we handle it with a touch of love, touch of perfection, touch of dedication, touch of gratitude. That is divinized, spiritualized action. Role of the descent of God, avatar. God descends to remind humanity of right and wrong actions, guide responses accordingly. The purpose of this descent is to protect the good, correct the bad, eliminate destructive tendencies in individual. The elimination is metaphorically compared to removing irredeemable items from a wardrobe to make space for new, better ones. Transformation through spontaneous action. When actions are performed spontaneously, naturally, and without vested interest, they become inaction. In this state, the sense of personal agency or doership is absent, signifying a higher spiritual realization. A mother taking care of her child when the child is sick, Throughout the night she would not have slept, but next morning when we say, oh, you couldn't, she was not aware. Because her whole interest is shifted on the child. So a loud object. That is why in a higher ideal, when it goes, action becomes inaction. Action does not bind us. Wrong action does. Right action is one that is consecrated to a higher ideal. It liberates us. Right action emerges from the real knowledge, not mere whims and fancies of the mind. Divinizing our entire life is the path of right action. So whether we are seeing, hearing, eating, breathing, or acting, we are reminded of the divine grace every moment of our life. If He is not there in the form of life force, how as an individual I will exist? How these words can come? How the hand can move? How the eyes can see, This is what is meant. Gradually our mind gets anchored in the higher, resulting in the eventual weakening of lower desires. Good and bad are both part of life. Neither can it be eradicated, but we can and must restore the balance in favor of good. We attain whatever we seek. Make sure that what we desire is what you really want. From there we move to chapter number 5, Karma Sannyasa Yoga. When God dimension is added to an action, this is His work. At home or in the office or with friends, whatever we handle. We need not tom-tom, but in our mind we feel it is an action given. He has given us the body, mind, intellect. He has given us the field. He is providing us the prompting to act. I am doing it. Thus, the Lord says that Karma Yoga is superior to Sannyasa. Why does He say so when there is no difference between them? What does it mean? When the Lord says so, it is from the standpoint of a seeker. Doing everything without being active oneself is possible for a realized soul, not for a seeker. But it is possible for a seeker, at least to some extent, to follow the way of doing everything without getting attached to work, that is acting outwardly but remaining inactive within. Working without acting will be a riddle for a seeker. He will be at a loss to understand it. For a seeker, Karma Yoga is both the way and the goal, but Sannyasa is only the goal. It cannot be the way. Hence, from the standpoint of the seeker, Karma Yoga is superior and preferable to Sannyasa. When there is a total mental involvement in every action, by bringing in the God dimension, one will not feel the sense of agency while involved in action. In that sense, karma becomes akarma, which is free from stress, strain, indifference. Perform actions like the sun. The sun does not boast and always exercises its duties silently. Our actions should evolve to that level. Such a state will be full of inner and creative motivations. Doing everything with absence of the sense of doership is Karma Yoga. Apparently doing nothing but triggering many activities around is Sannyasa. For the sadhaka, Karma Yoga is preferable to Sannyasa. Yoga, which frees one from all misery, is attained only by him who is moderate, very important, a strict life, disciplined life, moderate in diet and recreation, regulated in performing actions, in sleeping and waking. This includes regularity, self-discipline, commitment, recognizing the existence of different parts of the body and its harmonious functioning, aiming for perfection and concentration, tickling various parts of the body which otherwise remains inactive, regular upkeep of this body. All these things, yoga, it helps us. Renunciation is not life denying, it is life enabling. It is the turning away from a trivial present for a more significant future. Like a sportsperson who turns his back on every indulgence for the all important trophy. Renunciation is not giving up action. Renunciation is not giving up the grain for the chaff. It is preventing the clutter of inconsequential things from interfering with the important aspects of life. It is intelligent waste disposal. Karma Yoga is living like a lotus leaf in water, unattached, unaffected. It is not running away from the world, rather it is divinizing every activity, converting every place we get into as a puja room, every meal as a prasad from the Lord, and every worldly interaction as satsang. So this is what we want. Any place is a puja room, that means any place is a place where we can worship Him. Every meal, everything that is
Swamiji, can you please read the
Karma Yoga is living like a lotus leaf in water, unattached, unaffected. It is not running away from the world. Rather, it is divinizing every activity, converting every place we get into as a puja room, every meal as a prasad from the Lord, every worldly interaction as satsang. Then we move to chapter number 6, Atma Samyama Yoga. To transform karma into akarma, inward journey is a must. We should know how to make it effective. For the inward journey, Dhyana Yoga, along with detachment from outer actions and resorting to regular practices, the following 3 factors are essential: concentration of mind, moderation in everything, and equanimity. While detachment might appear as withdrawal, the practice actually brings out creativity, something positive. This can be likened to removing weeds from the field, then sowing the seeds in the same field. Practice also includes constantly contemplating upon the good and the noble. Arjuna, like us, is afraid of leaving the safe confines of his present existence to discover the unknown realm of the infinite. He asks Krishna what the fate is of those who commit themselves to a spiritual life but die before realization. Krishna gives a fitting reply to reveal one of the most insightful laws of life. He says, one who is righteous will never come to grief, either now or in the future. Your efforts will not go in vain. You will carry forward the credits to your future life. One Nama chanting, one bhajan will not go in vain. One Mahatma darshan will not go in vain. That's the assurance. The test of spiritual development is the ability to see oneself in others and all beings in oneself. Moderation and regulation of life's activities are a must for spiritual as well as material progress. In practical life, yoga is finding the fine balance amidst the chaos and conflicts. Jnana Vijnana Yoga, number 7. This chapter is titled Jnana Vijnana Yoga. The term jnana refers to knowledge or wisdom. Beyond the theoretical understanding. It goes beyond the theoretical understanding of jnana. The term jnana refers to knowledge or wisdom, while vijnana represents applied knowledge or experiential wisdom. That which we learn from the textual source, it is knowledge. That which we gain from our life experience, that is vijnana. It goes beyond the theoretical understanding of jnana and involves the direct personal experience and realization of those truths in one's own life. Jnana Vijnana Yoga begins with an exhortation by Lord Krishna to Arjuna that he should totally surrender to him and carefully listen to his teachings, and in return promises Arjuna that he will completely reveal himself and all aspects of knowledge with nothing left to be known. That means the God thought should pervade. I must be able to see the source behind anything and everything. Then the Vijnana unfolds. As we progress towards exclusive devotion or surrender, the challenges of multiplicity and contradictions often obstruct our path. To overcome these hurdles, the Lord unveils the intricate structure of the world, including its origins, which give rise to illusions. An analogy can be drawn with an artist who paints diverse images on the same canvas using the same brush to evoke a variety of emotions. Here the eternal self represents the artist, while the eightfold Prakriti, consisting of 5 elements, mind, intellect, ego, symbolize the brush, the paint, and the canvas. Eschewing your ego is the first and the most significant step in achieving Jnana Yoga. There is no such thing as I. When the onion skin is peeled off, we find no kernel in it. Identification of the body with the soul is the gross mistake that inhibits jnana. To achieve purity of mind, several practices are recommended, including yajna, sacrifice, dana, charity, japa, repetition of God's name, tapa, penance, dhyana, meditation, dharana, concentration. All these practices require the support of bhakti. Bhakti involves the wholehearted engagement of the heart and soul in devotion to God. While activities serve as a cleansing agent, like soap, bhakti is akin to water. Both are essential and must work in harmony. Among the 4 types of bhakti, the most cherished by the Lord are those whose heartfelt longing is to end their sense of separation. The man of perfection, as envisioned in the science of Vedanta, is not only spiritually fulfilled, but is also a master of himself in every situation. He remains a dynamic force, capable of influencing the world around him, while embodying serenity and self-mastery at all times. Then we move to 8, Akshara Brahma Yoga. This chapter emphasizes the importance of recognizing the inevitability of death, while also urging us to prepare our minds positively to remember the divine at the time of leaving the body. Otherwise, we remain trapped in the illusions of me and mine, unaware of the divine presence within us. Thoughts shape our future, and we can choose to direct them towards spiritual or worldly goals. The dominant thought in one's mind at the moment of death shapes the experience of the next birth. Therefore, one should strive for inner peace and fulfillment at life's end, which requires consistent effort throughout one's life. It is a mistake to assume that one can lead a sinful life and still remember the Lord at the final moment. Hence, periodical contemplation of death of the body and the need to dwell on the indwelling reality at all times and places will help in developing the needed detachment from the ephemerals. That particular sloga, if we remember, that will keep us on toes. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. At all times and in all places, remember me and fight the battle of life. Tasmat, therefore, sarveshu kaleshu, at all times and in all places. Mam anusmara, remember me, God, and then fight the battle of life. Now the Lord offers useful hints for fixing the thought of the meditation of God. As the mind wanders away from the central thought of meditation, the sadhaka, by persevering effort, should practice steady meditation. God is only for him who strives to reach him with persistent, dauntless endeavor. In meditation, let the aspirant think upon God as beginningless, all-knowing, all-controlling, subtler than the subtlest, support of all the worlds, whose form is beyond imagination, who is eternally effulgent like the sun, unknown to darkness, Meditation thus performed with an unperturbed mind and fixed with one supreme longing, strengthened by the power of the divine energy within him, his life breath drawn upwards at a point between the eyebrows, causes the individual sense of the soul to absorb into the divine essence. Devotion is expressed through intention and attention, not just emotion and action. Here devotion, bhakti, bhakti is not a particular deity. Bhakti not to a particular deity. Bhakti to this power. Because Jnana Marga is difficult. But bhakti is relatively easy because he is the power behind my talking, The sense of individuality always becomes aware of the power behind the talking and surrender. So devotion, that is what is called devotion here. Rajavidya, Rajaguhya Yogam. Here Lord Krishna highlights that the knowledge he shares is royal. This indicates that it is both noble and transformative. When one understands and acts upon this wisdom, they can escape the cycle of karma. Every action should be God-centered. It does not matter what we do, whether big or small. All actions should be done as yajna. They should be pure, fully dedicated to the divine. We have to act, no doubt. At the same time, the fruit of action should also be offered to the Lord, who is the real owner. It is not that we offer only certain deeds to God. Rather, all our deeds should be dedicated to God. When we bring in the God dimension to everything, everything becomes sweet. When we get stabilized in the truth that God is everywhere, all the negativities will fade away. When a person chants God's name constantly, sin cannot touch him. Even if we offer a leaf, flower, fruit, or water with an attitude of devotion, that is sufficient. We should enrich our life by blending both devotion and action. There is a big difference between mindfully sowing the seeds and just scattering them. By throwing them, we lose them forever. By sowing them, they come back to us manifold. An action dedicated to God is like sowing the seed. By realizing that He is the goal, the supporter, the Lord, the witness, the abode, the refuge, the friend, the origin, the dissolution, the substratum, the storehouse, the seed immutable, whatever action is done, whatever is eaten, whatever is offered as sacrifice, whatever is given, whatever austerity performed, all are offered to Him totally. This path is the royal path, Rajavidya, express highway to God, where we do not have to bother about anything because we are safe in His hand. No particular, we are not choosy at all. Anything that we do, including my putting the feet into the chapel, taking it out, walking, going, sitting, everything is offered to Him. That is called royal road, express highway. We don't have to think this way. We don't have to be selective. I don't have to go to a particular place because everywhere it is He. Chapter 10 is Vibhuti Yoga.
One doubt, sir. Offering everything to God is possible.
Let us complete this.
Okay.
Chapter 10 is a profound reflection on the omnipresence of the divine, where Krishna elaborates on his various manifestations throughout the universe, encouraging the reader to see the divine in all aspects of creation, from the mighty mountains to the smallest particle, fostering a deep sense of connection and reverence towards the divine within everything around us. Essentially, it is an invitation to perceive the world with a spiritual lens, recognizing Krishna as the underlying source of all existence. Vibhuti Yoga. This vast creation is like God's book. When our eyes are covered with thick veils, me and mine, we think that the book is closed. Everywhere in this book, in this world, the name of the Lord is written in beautiful letters, but we fail to read that. We get this description of the world manifestation, that the divine has become the many, though it's through his yoga power. Though he is one, he can also be the many. An in-depth study of his vibhuti, power of manifestation, helps to know him more clearly. One method is to see him in pure and gentle forms among human beings and grand and beautiful forms in nature. The Lord assures that when devotion is developed in that particular event or person or object in bhaktas to know and love him, he will take those bhaktas unto himself. Effort should be made to feel divinity in all creations, in all situations, in all behaviors, in all pairs of opposites, such as big and small, good and bad, pleasure and pain. Initially, we try to see the divinity in its gentle and noble forms. Then gradually, we try to see the same divinity in opposite characters. First, we see divinity in Rama. Then later on, we see it in Ravana. First, we learn the simple letters. Then we grasp the complex letters. Divinity is there both in the ocean and in the drop. The former is gross, while the latter is subtle. We should be able to see divinity in one's mother, father, teacher, preceptor, noble people. The Lord dwells in all creations, both animate and inanimate, but we must have the eyes to recognize this. Vishwarupa Darshan, number 11. Witnessing Lord Krishna's cosmic form overwhelms Arjuna, causing him to fall at Lord's feet in reverence, highlighting the humbling experience of realizing one's smallness in the grand scheme of the universe. Looking from the ground level, limited. Looking from the mountain top, little more. Looking from the aircraft when it lands, unlimited. Just think about it. Then only we know how insignificant we are. This is one of the rare moments a sincere seeker is blessed with, when the way lifts, revealing the beauty and grandeur that lies beyond. It inspires devotion, renews one's conviction. But these flashes cannot be sustained. You need to go back to your level, work yourself up to find this magnificence in your everyday life. Wherever a greater manifestation of energy, beneficial and uplifting humanity become expressive, we should know that he is more conspicuous there. God is everywhere, but he is more conspicuous there. A portion of his own infinite nature is present. The Lord is present in different objects as different attributes, and we know as such. And when we know as such, we find joy in them and feel a kind of relationship with them. The Lord says that he who is free from enmity to all creatures, who is ever engrossed in serving the world impartially without any expectation, who is ever engrossed in serving the world impartially without any expectation, who dedicates all his actions to him, who is full of devotion, who forgives all and is detached, full of love, becomes an instrument of him. One's life should become a shining instrument in the Lord's hands. If we have to become a flute in his hands, we should free ourselves from notions of me and mine, thereby becoming the flute hollow. Then only will the sweet music come out of the fruit of our lives. Divinity and sanctity that are present in the Lord's supreme form are even there in a small image. Image worship is the part of learning to experience the whole universe in a small object. The Lord shows Arjuna a synoptic view of entire universe. The Lord manifests everywhere and in different objects, in different forms, in different characteristics. The bitterness of the bitter gourd, the sweetness of the sugar cane, the spiciness of the chili, the sourness of the tomato, all of these have come out from respective plants that have equal access to sunlight, manure, water, care of the same gardener. In all these, divinity is present. To know that the entire universe is present even in a grain of sand is the cosmic vision. He who is free from enmity towards all creatures, who is ever engrossed in serving the world impartially without any expectation, who dedicates all his actions to the Lord, who is full of devotion, who forgives all and is detached and full of love, becomes an instrument of the Lord. This is the essence of the Gita's teaching. And finally, chapter number 12, the Bhakti Yoga. The present chapter goes to prove that the path of devotion is easier than the path of pure knowledge. The path of devotion means adoration of God in His Supreme Personality, in which the aspirant forms a near and dear relationship with the Supreme Lord, and through constant remembrance of Him, with prayers and singing and speaking of His glories, rises himself to the divine consciousness. Through this devotion, the devotee effects his union with and absorption in the Lord. Thus, not only attains the knowledge of the Atman or the Nirguna aspect of God, but also gets the highest vision of God, manifested as the universe. The peace and joy which a devotee experiences is maintained in all conditions of life and activity. A devotee of the personal form of the Lord serves the Lord with his sense organs, whereas a devotee of the impersonal aspect of the Lord always thinks about the welfare of the world. Saguna Bhakti is secure and easy, but it needs Nirguna Bhakti. Saguna Bhakti should eventually blossom into Nirguna Bhakti. Whatever be one's seva is, even if it is insignificant or simple, as long as it is not detrimental to the interest of others, it is also a form of bhakti. Otherwise, it will be a sort of attachment. The Lord also gives the attributes and qualifications of devotees who are dear to Him in the last 8 slokas. These are directly related to our daily life and therefore help us to know where we are now and what is needed to move towards the goal. Devotion is of 2 kinds, one to form and the other to formless. The doubt arises as to which is superior. Worship to the form with supreme Shraddha and ever steadfast, as also worship to the formless by those who have subdued all the senses, even-minded everywhere, engaged in the welfare of beings, both take to the same goal. At the same time, it is difficult for the common man to concentrate on the formless. In such cases, by reducing one's needs to the minimum, becoming positively sensitive to the needs and suffering of the fellow creatures, bringing out excellence in whatever one is engaged in, not becoming a burden to anyone else in the form of etc., one will be able to become his devotee. All these points covered in 7 slokas numbering 35. Devotion is not praying for things you are unwilling to work for it. It is an acknowledgement of nature's bounty. It is gratitude for all that you have been blessed with. So this is how we finished the 12 rounds. Now again, we do some distilling, We may not be able to remember everything. The first churning is taking place now. So from this churning again, one line filtered for one chapter, so that it might easily connect ourselves. First chapter enables to observe the inner conflict welling up in our mind due to attachment. First chapter. We become aware of our pitfalls that cloud our perception and judgments. Second chapter. How a balanced mind ensures peace and handling everything smoothly. Third chapter. Peace and harmony lie in refining our approach to activities. Fourth chapter. Realizing that the unknown factor God has a say finally in all matters. Again, fourth chapter. Renouncing activity will not help if the mind is not refined. Fifth chapter. When God predominates in our actions, we do not feel the hardship of the action. Sixth chapter. Self-imposed disciplines do help in hitting the goal. Seventh chapter. Realizing our origin and the factor providing us everything. Again, seventh chapter. Getting some clarity about the varied manifestation. Eighth chapter. Accepting the death phenomena as inevitable. Eighth chapter. Inward journey is a must for getting fixed in the imperishable. Ninth chapter. Realizing no divide between spiritual and worldly. That is the express highway. 10th chapter. In all creations, the name of the Lord is written in beautiful letters. 11th chapter. In all greater manifestation of energy, he is more conspicuous. 12th chapter. Eligibility to become his dearest devotee is outlined. So like that, in this attempt, we have fairly some idea about each and every chapter. And then, in order to ensure that it doesn't slip into an academic exercise, intellectual exercise, we are trying to integrate it with our own life so far lived, so that then we become aware of it. Otherwise, it is a knowledge, but now we become aware of it. It has become our own. So this is the base formula with which we are approaching Bhagavad Gita. We have to keep on doing this and tallying with our own experiences so far lived. God has, we have all come from Him. So He has given us all of us the needed experience. The only thing is, for reasons known to Him, He has not made us aware that He is within. But now He is slowly making us aware. That is why we are all sitting here. He made us to get in touch with His various forms, Mahatmas, Shastras, Satsang, deeply pondering. He made us to go through stressful period. He made us to become totally feel helpless. Then the prayer came. Like that, we understand now that every one of us has been blessed with all these, but He chose not to link it with Him. And now He is slowly opening up, by which we try to link ourselves with Him. Right from our childhood days till this moment, so many varied experiences He made us to go through. It was all ordained, preordained by Him, for reasons known to Him, to make us His pure instrument. So we pray to Him. You have been gracious enough to put us on the process, but we still feel you are a distant reality. Intellectually, we have understood you are within us, but experientially, no. When we react to events and individuals, only we are there, you are not there. Kindly help me to become aware that you are behind my body, mind, and complex, and you are the motivating, pulsating, activating, enlivening, empowering force behind everything that we talk, everything that we think, everything that we do. This is our prayer. So from day after tomorrow, we will go through the next chapters, and then finally we will go through it again and again and try to unearth some more points which have escaped our attention. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Why did you? Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Sharma off and go. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Sharma off and go. Move to go. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Sharma mute பண்ணுங்கோ. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om.
I'll bring them. Leave it. Leave it. I'll take it. I'll transfer.